Seth Rogen! I'd like to talk about a specific word, if you don't mind, and that word is microtransaction. Except I don't just want to talk about that word though. I really want to highlight the second part. We all know what that is, but let's really look at that first part. That first part of the word. What is it? It's micro transaction. Not even not even mini transaction. Micro transaction. With that in mind, with that little nugget just in mind, just in place in your brain, keep it in there right now. With that in mind, $40 Ninetales skin. $40 Ninetales skin. Pokemon Unite is always updating with new Pokemon and skins and all that stuff, and they just announced a special new skin for Alolan Ninetales. And it costs $40. You can buy it with the whatever little tickets that you use to purchase cosmetic items. And technically, you can grind for them, but you get them mainly in loot boxes. So that's a great alternative to spend. Oh, no, don't worry. You don't have to spend $40 on it. You can spend money on loot boxes instead. And then, you know, maybe you'll get it, or maybe you'll get enough money. Especially funny because apparently I didn't even realize this. It limits how many free loot boxes you can get, so you have to pay to get more. You have to pay money to allow yourself to get more free loot boxes. So that's fun. Basically, it's $40. It's a $40 skin. It's a $40 skin. These are real words that are coming out of my mouth. And it's funny that this is coming up now because I just did a whole big video on Pokemon Unite. Specifically, I did a whole entire thing, super in-depth, really, it's like a half-hour long, and just going into all of my problems with the game, why I think, so, you know, I don't want to go into it all here. You know, if you're going to be asking the usual, it's just cosmetic, it's just optional, it's free to play, blah, 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 all the usual stuff. Not talking about that today because I talked about it all in that video. Go look at that video if you want to know all that stuff. And I already did that video, so you think that I would be, I'd be done with this topic, but this feels like a pretty notable kind of development in this story. You know what I mean? It feels notable enough to really talk about it. Like to really talk about $40 skin. And I don't like necessarily want this whole video to just be like one great big I told you so. But with that said, I told you so. I completely told you so. And that was one of my main points in my video on Pokemon Unite is like, and that's the thing, I was a little bit nervous when I released the video because the day that I did, that's when they announced that they were easing up on the whole pay to win thing. They were gonna, okay, we're gonna introduce an item that makes it easier to max level a held item, and so you don't have to grind a bunch or pay a bunch of money to do it. So like they were easing up on that, and that was good. And before that, we had the whole survey where they were asking people what they thought about the microtransactions. So I'm like, okay, there's at least a chance that they're easing up and they're gonna make it better. So I was a little bit nervous about that, like putting out the video. But one of the main points that I make in the video is that this is an online game. This is a live, free-to-play thing that they are going to be constantly updating it, and no matter what state it's in now, they can always put in whatever they want later. They can change whatever they want, they can introduce whatever they want, they can tweak the prices to be whatever they want. And like, sure, there's a chance that like nothing will go bad, maybe it will only improve, maybe the people running the game, they're not truly evil or whatever, but it's like, it's scary because the potential is there. This is the nature of a free-to-play game, of an online game, one that's always being updated. And whereas for a couple minutes there, it looked like maybe they were rolling some things back, you know, trying to bring a little bit more integrity to the experience. And, you know, okay, sure, yeah, that's good. So what's next? What's next? This is what's next. It's a $40 skin is what's next. No, they flipped it in the whole opposite direction there. I mean, like, here's the thing. I was already appalled that there were like skins in there that were like 15, like when I was playing the game, there were some like 15 bucks. That to me is already so far beyond reasonable. And that's a really big thing here is like, I know cosmetics, they're the main thing that's monetized right now, but it's like you remember a time when like those don't cost a bunch of money to make. They're not really an item that they're producing that is really worth selling to you. Games used to have 1,000 costumes and they didn't cost any extra money. It's just a thing they put in the game. But now like it's become so normalized to pay for costumes and emotes, even when like there's no actual logical reason for them to cost more money than the game itself. But like that's just how things are right now. That is a normal thing. And even considering that, 15 felt like so much to me. Again, like I know I just can't get off of it, but micro transactions, super duper tiny transactions just meant to, you know, you sell a game or you give people a free to play game and you keep them spending little bits here and there, This is not a little bit. There's nothing little about this bit. Another one of the points that I made in my video was that, like, because this is a thing that they can change at any time, they can use whatever psychological manipulation tactics that they got, and, you know, people who are hooked into the game, kids who are playing the game because they love Pokemon, at any time, they can dangle new carrots in front of your face. You know, they can dangle they added your favorite Pokemon in the world, or they added a great costume for your favorite Pokemon, like, at any time. And they can attach any price tag at all that they want to it. They could make it $1,000 if they wanted. I don't know how many people would buy it, but like they could. Just the fact that they could is what's so gross. And like, you know what? If there's enough backlash or whatever, maybe they'll roll it back. You know, they'll lower the price, and then if people bought it, they'll give those people free stuff. You know, oh, we heard you. We're listening to the community, and it's not $40 anymore. It's a much more reasonable $20 or whatever for one skin, for one character in one game. But it's like, even if they do roll it back, it was never okay to do in the first place. I'm so disturbed by the fact that they did it in the first place that it's like, it really undoes all of that potential goodwill that I was starting to feel. Oh, like maybe they are listening. Maybe they are going to start making this a little bit more reasonable. I didn't have high hopes, but I recognized that it was at least possible. That's gone now. That's all. At least for me personally, that is definitely out the window now. Even if something like this is optional, you know, yada, 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 even if it's just cosmetic, it's the idea that they thought that was okay in the first place, to sell one single skin, to just like, they're trying so hard to capitalize on the people with really poor impulse control, or they just really love the game, really love Alolan Ninetales or whatever. They're hoping so bad. And it's another part of the normalization process. All this stuff is being normalized, and they push the boundaries. They push them, and they push them, and they push them, and they see how many people will be willing to spend what on just ridiculous stuff like this. And like, that's another thing that makes it feel so gross. This is clearly them testing the waters. How much can we get away with? How like, you know, they're probably all sitting around in the meeting just being like, okay, we got a really cool new skin coming. How much can we get away with charging? And they were like, okay, we got some that are 15. Should we make it 20? No, more than 20. 25, 30. And then like the one guy was like, do you think we could do 40? And everyone's like, no, we can't do 40. You think we can do 40? Should we do 40? We can't do 40, right? No. Guys, no. We can't do 40, right? Right? Oh my gosh, we're doing 40, aren't we? Let's do 40! Let's do 40! $40 for a skin! Do you think they'll do it? Oh my gosh, do you think they'll do it? Oh my gosh. Like the thing is, like, they can always walk it back from here. You know, like, oh no, it was too much. Like I said earlier, like, oh, it was too much. We listened to the community. Let's roll it back. But like, they lose nothing from trying to overshoot. Worst case scenario, they got it rolled back a little bit because people get too mad. Best case scenario, a bunch of people spend $40 on a skin, and look at that. That's a new thing we can do. $40 skins. That's a little tool in our tool belt we can whip out from time to time. It's really, really gross. And you know what? There's a whole facet of this conversation that I hadn't even really, like, taken time to truly consider yet. You know, I've talked about how all this stuff, it preys on kids who don't understand what money is. It preys on people with, you know, addictive personalities, gambling addictions and whatnot. But there was a really good episode of the Jimquisition that went out just a few days ago talking about how all of this also preys on people with neurodivergencies from all over every spectrum, you know, people who have a problem with, you know, just impulse buying in general, just like self-control issues, or people who find it really important to complete collections, especially with something like this. You know, it's Pokemon. You want to get everything there is to get. It's a really great video. Language warning. It is the Jimquisition after all. But it goes into all this and talks about how, like, you know, whales, it's not just like super rich people who have too much money to spend. Like, no, like all of this, a $40 skin of a really cool extra special Ninetales skin, like this preys on people who can't afford it, but have a hard time saying no. And it's gross, basically. I just wanted to come back around and remind you that I think all of this is very, very gross. It's exploitative, it's manipulative, it's damaging to the industry, it's damaging to people's lives. And as I said in my original video on the topic, I would not stand for it if I were Nintendo. I know they want to make money. I know they don't always make the best decisions when it comes to all these, well, I mean, you know, they're Nintendo, aren't they? But I at least personally feel that in the past they have shown that there is probably a line that they don't want to cross, and this crosses it by a very, very wide margin. And if I were Nintendo, I'd be like, no, it's not okay. It doesn't matter how much money Pokemon makes. We don't want this on our Switch. I mean, gosh, I'm a cheapskate. Like, I'm a cheapskate at heart. To me, the idea of spending literally any amount of money whatsoever on something that's purely cosmetic is just, it's baffling. So then, like, spending even like $5, like I would have to really be in love with a game and really, really, really love a character and a skin. It'd have to be all these perfect circumstances. It'd be the most important game in the entire world to me to spend $5. And even in that scenario, it is not likely. It is not likely at all. It's a skin. It's a costume. It's a costume, for Pete's sake. And you know, I'm not judging any of you if you've ever bought cosmetics or whatever. We've just, for me also, we've crossed the line. We've really crossed a line with a $40 skin. So before we go, instead of just being negative and complaining about this, I would like to offer some constructive advice. If you or someone you love is currently considering spending $40 on one skin for one character in one game, please allow me to offer you this list. Here are 20 better ways to spend $40. Buy multiple entire other games. And let's just get the obvious one out of the way first. Multiple entire other games. Use that $40 to pay for 2/3 of a $60 game that you only have to pay for once and you get to play forever. Buy 2 copies of Bug Fables just for kicks. Hashtag play Bug Fables. Take a friend to dinner. Buy that really nice pair of sweats you've had your eye on. Buy 40 pads of Post-it notes and stick them all over a tractor. Buy 47 pads of generic brand adhesive notes and stick them all over a slightly bigger tractor. Ride the bus around town all day. Invest your $40 in the weirdest cryptocurrency you can find. 5 rounds of laser tag. Order a coffee and tip really well. Buy a 600 pack of crayons and melt them all into one big mega crayon. Get someone a present, then use the store's present wrapping service and have them wrap, open, and rewrap it 6 times. Purchase 10 bags of Carolina Gold-style barbecue-flavored ridge-cut potato chips from Trader Joe's. Buy an entire used set of a sprawling, dense political sci-fi book series from the 70s and tell yourself you're gonna read it all someday, but don't. Buy 8 bath bombs and see what happens when you drop them all in at once. Replace the Joy-Con that got smashed when your nephew dropped your Switch. Get a big pack of tape and stash it somewhere, because it's really annoying to keep running out of tape, and this way you don't have to worry about it for a while. Get a few of those enormous buckets of little dinosaur figures and just go to town. And finally, because then at least that way you didn't spend $40 on one skin for one character in one game. Okay, I'm gonna need that back though. Oh man, I had an ice cream wrapper in there. Okay, I've probably made my point by now, so why don't you head on down to the comments and give me your list of better things to do with $40 than spend it on a Ninetales skin. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and I will see you later. What else is in here? Oh my gosh. Oh, is that a Skittle? Oh, that's a Skittle.